My scripture today is from the Lamsa translation of the Bible, Matthew chapter 17, verses 13 through 20. When Jesus came into the country of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "What do men say concerning me? That I am merely a son of man?" They said, "There are some who say John the Baptist, others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." He said to them, "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, saying, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered, saying to him, "Blessed are you, Simon, the son of Jonah, for flesh and blood did not reveal it to you, but my Father in heaven. I tell you also that you are the stone, and upon this stone I will build my church, and the doors of Sheol shall not shut upon it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he charged his disciples not to tell any man that he was the Christ. And this ends the reading of our scripture, Matthew chapter 17, verses 13 through 20. As we look deeper into the metaphysical lesson of this scripture, I want you to consider how this applies to your spiritual growth. You will often hear us say that the Bible tells the story of the phases of our spiritual progression. And in his teachings, Jesus gave us the roadmap to guide us to realize self and God realization. In our scripture, Jesus came into the place of Caesarea Philippi, and he asked his disciples, "What do men say concerning me? That I am merely a son of man?" The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary defines Caesarea Philippi as the phase in our growth where our spiritual nature takes dominion over the physical. When the I am, when the God within us comes into its power, our physical nature, or the ego, has met its match. It has met the more powerful I am of our spirit. And this is an important aspect in our growth. And it's a turning point. We have grown to the point where the I am is taking dominion over the ego. And now we are starting to let go. Letting go of that physical and allowing the Spirit of God within us to guide us, trusting. Jesus asks whether others think of him merely as the Son of Man. When the Bible references the Son of Man, it is speaking about our physical nature. He then asks his disciples, who do they think he is? Simon Peter answered him, and he said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." The Son of God is our spiritual self. His disciples saw him as who he truly was. They looked past the physical. They looked deep within him. They saw him more than the physical presence. They saw the I am and the Christ within him. Jesus answered Simon Peter and told him, "For flesh and blood did not reveal it to you, but my Father in heaven." It was not Simon Peter's physical eyes that revealed to him that Jesus was the Christ. It was his spiritual eyes. And this speaks also of where Simon Peter was in consciousness, that he was able to recognize this. Jesus then told Simon Peter that he is the stone, and upon this stone, he will build his church. He recognized Simon Peter had awakened when he saw him as more than the physical flesh, when he saw him as the Son of God. And it is upon this foundation of our spiritual awakening that we will build our church. A rock solid foundation is one that is strong. It is strong and it is unwavering. And if we build our life upon our spiritual foundation, it will be strong and it will withstand the storms of life. Jesus then told Simon Peter he would give to him the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever he binds on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever he looses on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Many of us, or some of us, grew up believing heaven is a place where we go after we transition from this physical world. And that when we get there, we walk through these beautiful pearly gates of heaven where we will be greeted by an angel or God. Well, at least some of us will. Others may go to this place that some call hell, where they will be greeted by the devil holding a pitchfork. Now, I hate to shadow this fable, but I'm going to. Or let's say, I am going to share with you another perspective. Because after all, each of us has free will. We each have free will to believe as we want. But let me share with you my perspective. Heaven and hell are not places. They are states of consciousness. States of consciousness right within us, not out there. And are you ready for this? I'm going to share with you a secret. We can live in heaven or hell while we are still alive. We don't have to die to go there. Yes, we can live in heaven right here and right now if that is what we choose. It's up to us. Likewise, we can also choose to create our own hell right here on earth by the way we think. And as I said, each of us has free will. So it's our choice. As part of our awakening, we come to realize we have the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And that's pretty powerful. Now, it's up to us what we choose to do with them. Are we going to unlock the door? Jesus also told Simon Peter, what he loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven, meaning that whatever we do or create in our physical nature will affect our spiritual nature, and vice versa. To experience balance and harmony, we want the physical to be aligned with the spiritual. If we dedicate ourselves to our spiritual growth and realize the I am in us while we were still in this physical body, that will carry over and impact our spiritual consciousness. And if we live a life of cheating, harming others, and negative thinking, well, guess what? That too will affect our spiritual consciousness. And it will impede our growth. And not just here, but both now and in the afterlife. When we make choices in our physical, they affect our spiritual. When we shed the physical body after our transition, we are still the same consciousness, except we don't have a body. Hitler didn't magically become a saint when he died. We have the same consciousness 1 minute before our last breath as we do 1 minute after our last breath. The only thing that changes is that we lost our body. Thus, he's trying to tell us in this lesson that what we bind in the physical, we will bind in the spiritual. And the flip side of that is that whatever we loose or whatever we learn or resolve in the physical will be resolved in the spiritual. This earth plane is our school of learning. And some of our lessons we chose before we come here. We come here to experience life and to learn from our lessons, and sometimes to resolve karmic imbalances that we came here to bring back into balance. And as we grow and resolve on this earth plane, that knowledge is within our soul, and we take it with us. Once we have learned the lesson, we don't have to repeat it. And if we haven't learned the lesson, well, then guess what? We get to repeat it until we do. I find it interesting that Jesus charged his disciples not to tell any man he was the Christ. When it comes to our spiritual awakening, no one can just tell us and no one can do it for us. We have to find it, and we have to experience it for ourselves. Teachers and gurus can guide us and provide us with the knowledge to help us unlock the door. But we have to choose to pick up the key, unlock the door, and open it. Quite simply, we have to do the work. That is why we say it is self-realization. It is self-attained, and it is self-realized. Simon Peter had awakened the I am in him, and he saw Jesus for who he truly was, the embodiment of the Christ. There are some things in life we have to find and experience for ourselves. We cannot just be told. We need to experience it from deep, deep within us. When we realize the Christ, or the I am for ourselves, then we know. And when we know, we know. It is our truth, and it is unshakable and unwavering. So how do we unlock the doors to the kingdom of heaven within us? Meditate, meditate, meditate. In our Declaration of Principles, it states, we affirm that meditation is the key to experiencing the unity of self and God. Need I say more? When we meditate, we are quieting our mind and going deep within to our inner sanctuary, communing with God and the universal consciousness. In meditation, we are closing that door to our physical world and consciously entering our spiritual world, quieting our mind so we can listen and hear, immersing ourselves in the pure and peaceful energies of God. During meditation, we are giving our spirit that space to emerge and to experience the awesome I am of God within us. After a deep meditation, the world just seems a little softer, and we feel so different in our physical presence. We bring these higher vibrations back with us. Remember, what we create in the spiritual affects the physical. No matter how our day has gone, the world may be chaotic, but when we meditate and return after a deep meditation, we have a different perspective, and we are better able to detach ourselves from the chaos. Another way we open the door to the kingdom of heaven is by taking personal responsibility. No one does it to us. We do it to ourselves. This is the cornerstone of our foundation. Our Declaration of Principles states, we believe in personal responsibility and that we create our own happiness or unhappiness as we live in harmony or discord with universal natural laws. When we accept this as our truth, now we are picking up the key. Taking personal responsibility means that we look at what we are doing or have done, and we evaluate what we can do differently if we don't like the results we're getting. We don't place blame on others for our shortcomings. We look within to determine how we can take personal responsibility and to figure out what we need to do to change it. And we may ask ourselves, what is the lesson? What do I need to learn from this? What can I do differently if I don't like the results I'm getting? This is personal responsibility. Many years ago, my teacher Betty told me, she said, people don't make us angry. We allow them to make us angry. In other words, it's up to us how we react. We don't have to accept what others are throwing at us. We just simply don't accept it. And we don't have to take it into our consciousness. We need to stay at the top of the mountain. This is personal responsibility. Understanding we have the power within us to change anything in our life. And that is powerful. And that is because we have the power of the I am within us. And with this also comes the responsibility of using this power wisely. And not only for our highest and greatest good, but for the highest and greatest good of humanity. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Namaste, and many blessings to you.